Thank you guys for joining me today. Unafraid, right or wrong. We got a couple good topics on deck for you guys today. The first of which is Tillman Fertitta. He decided to buy and was approved of the sale of the Houston Rockets. So he's going to be the new owner of the Houston Rockets. The second thing up, though, is college football. My grades for week 1 for the top 10. And also, most importantly, why I am already frustrated by college football. I mean, we are 1 week in the books and I'm already steaming mad about what's going on. So first up, though, Tillman Fertitta, he decided to buy the Houston Rockets. What's interesting about this whole deal is not just the fact that he's buying the Houston Rockets, but how all of this came about. Because he tried to buy the Houston Rockets in 1993 for $81 million. So that was his bid. So he lost by $4 million. They sold for $85 million. And now he's buying them for $2.2 billion 24 years later. 24 years later. If you don't know who Tillman Fertitta is, if you see him on MSNBC, he's a $1 billion buyer. He owns Landry's restaurants, and Landry's owns everything from freaking Bubba Gump shrimp to this dude owns the Golden Nuggets, casinos. He owns a lot of damn things, right? He owns a lot of restaurants. He made his money in the restaurant business and in the development business. And then he went on to take his company public, made a bunch of money taking it public, and then bought some more stuff, invested more, and then he bought all the shares of his company back. So this dude is a shrewd businessman. And when you look at the fact that he bought the Houston Rockets for $2.2 billion, when they were valued at 1.65 billion. And the interesting part about this is that Forbes had them valued at 1.65 billion. And that's where real estate is very similar to buying and selling these teams' properties. Buying and selling teams. Because people always want to put values on things. Oh, how much is this worth? How much is that worth? But the only way to truly find out how much something is worth is to put it up for sale. Because when it's put up for sale, you'll find out what it's really worth. Because people won't pay more than they really want for it. For instance, Steve Ballmer, he bought the Clippers for $2 billion a year ago. Well, actually, 2014. Mind you, in January of Forbes, they were only valued at $550 million. But what happened? It went up for sale. Everybody was trying to buy him. Oprah was trying to buy him. Floyd Mayweather was trying to buy him. Everybody trying to buy the Clippers. So that drove the value up. Same thing here with the Houston Rockets. Because Tillman Fertitta is from Texas, and he knows that he can leverage his brands, put them all in the stadium, free marketing, free advertising, all this with buying the Houston Rockets. That's the part that's so interesting to me, because he just paid 16 times more for the franchise, if you factor in inflation, than what he was trying to buy the franchise for in 1993. So people ask, oh, what's the benefit of owning a team? Right? Look who buys teams now. Billionaires. Billionaires want everything that they want. And what do they want? It's kind of like what Kanye West says. I paid $400 for this just to be like, you ain't up on this. And that's the same way billionaires are. They want toys that other people can't have. And what can't you have? You cannot own a franchise. You cannot own a team franchise. There's only a few people in the good old boys club. Now, Tillman Fertitta is in the good old boys club. He's in the good old boys club now because he has something that nobody else has. Same thing with his with his cousins. His cousins, Lorenzo and Frank, they just sold the UFC for $4 billion. So now everybody wants into other business because there's a lot of money to be made in these sports businesses. Because these are shrewd businessmen. They're not just throwing around money. The Dodgers just sold a couple years ago for $2.15 billion to Magic Johnson and the Guggenheim Group. The Clippers sold So you're actually going to see a lot of these owners cashing out now. Like the owners that bought, in the 80s, the 90s, who got in for, somewhere between 20 million and like 100 million. You're going to see them cashing out now. I mean, like this is like a 20x return. I mean, it's insane. You don't see this anywhere in business. That's why they all want it. Good old boys club. That's football. Whether you're a coach, whether you're an owner, any of that. But what does all these the Houston Rockets being sold for $2.2 billion tell us? Same thing as real estate. Location, location, location. Location matters. My house that I live in would be 3 or 4 times more if it were in Beverly Hills. 3, 4 times more. Same size, same house, same everything. 3 or 4 times more just because you changed the zip code. Just because you put it in 90210. The Houston Rockets, though, they are a franchise they're really good because, last year they had the 3 seed in the playoffs, but they're not a championship caliber team. So if a non-championship caliber team is worth $2.2 billion, imagine what the Warriors are worth knowing that you have Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson all under contract right now. If the Warriors group sold their franchise, the Warriors would easily go for $3 billion right now. Easily. The Lakers sold. Mind you, the Lakers aren't even a playoff team right now. The Lakers sold, they would be $4 billion probably. That means that if the Cowboys sold, which are the most valuable franchise in the world, we're looking at $5-6 billion. I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, and Houston's a growing city. Like Patrick Fields just said that Houston is the highest salary locality for the federal government. Yep, exactly. Next up, though, on deck is college football. I'm going to tell you guys, before I share with you my top 10 and how their grades were for this week, I have to tell you guys why I am pissed off about college football. I mean, I am hot about college football. I mean, we are 1 week in, and I am hot about college football already. And do you know why? It's the damn schedules. I mean, I'm looking at week 2 already. And when I look at the matchups, it couldn't be any more frustrating. I mean, there's literally only 4 to 5 games that are compelling or interesting at all. I mean, 4 to 5 games the whole weekend that are compelling and interesting. Obviously, the big matchup that everybody is talking about is one of them is USC Stanford. Yes, I'm intrigued by that. This is a great matchup. I'm also looking at Georgia Notre Dame. Interesting as well. But the big dog, Ohio State at Oklahoma. Oklahoma at Ohio State. And then there's Oregon, Nebraska, Clemson, Auburn. But aside from those are the 5 games. But that's it. That is it. I mean, aside from that, I got Virginia Tech playing Delaware, got Miami, Arkansas State, Alabama, Florida State. I mean, when the hell is the committee going to start penalizing these people for scheduling like this? I get you don't have to play 11 Power 5 teams like USC is, and then Western Kentucky as well. So you had all your teams are either Power 5 or won 12 games the year before. Everybody doesn't need that. But when you look at Washington's schedule, this is embarrassing. When you look at Alabama and some of these other SEC non-conference games, they're awful. Alabama's playing Florida State. They're playing 8 SEC teams and then 3 cupcakes. I mean, 3 just teams that they're going to stomp on and demolish. Do you realize how bad that is? You realize how frustrating that is for college football fans? I love college football. I want to see matchups, man. I want to see matchups. I mean, is anybody besides me just tired of this week after week? I mean, week after week, having a couple good games as opposed to seeing teams play teams that they could actually lose to. Instead of pointing to these one-off games, oh, Liberty beat Baylor. It could happen. Man, listen, that has nothing to do with college football. These are gimmicks. Sometimes they work. If you throw enough paint up against the wall, something will stick. And as a college football fan, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing and it's frustrating because I can't learn enough about these teams with the current matchups. If I see more conference games, more non-conference matchups between Power 5 teams, I will be happier as a fan. They can sell more advertising. Everybody wins. College football fans win. There's more debate. There's more action. The committee is the only people who can stop this by penalizing teams that play awful non-conference schedules. Then there's the argument, oh, well, these schedules are made years in advance. Well, yes, but as soon as the committee penalizes somebody, they will change them immediately because teams cancel home and homes. They cancel matchups every single year. Here's what I'm going to point to as a solution. The solution to what's going on in college football with these schedules is you put one Power 5 team, a good Power 5 team on your schedule. A good one, a solid team that could be ranked in the top 25. I know that you can't for sure guarantee that everybody's in the top 25 every year. But at least one that you're pretty sure is going to be in the top 25 or right outside the top 25. The second thing that you have to do is you have to schedule a non-Power 5 team that could be at the top of their conference. There you go. And then the third team is you have to face a lower Power 5 team. So let me give you an example of what this looks like. Let's say Alabama just played Florida State. Great job. I love it as a college football fan. Next week, come back and play Fresno State. I'm not even mad about that. Then I need you to come back and play like a Cal. Or I need you to play like a Baylor. Or I need you to play a North Carolina State or something. Somebody that we can actually possibly put you on upset alert about. Because there is no fun in watching Stanford play Rice. There's no fun in watching all these top teams from this last week just stomp on people because they're not playing anybody. I'm a fan, man. This is not what I signed up for. And I don't think this is what you guys signed up for either. And if we don't demand change and we just sit here and accept what these people in college football are giving us, guess what we're going to get? The same old crap they keep giving us. Just feeding us bad games every week. And we're like, oh, well, there's 3 good games this week. There's 4 good games this week. That's good enough for me. BS. Do better. The last thing, though, is ranking my top 10 for this week. Well, grading out the top 10 for this week in college football. And we went by the AP poll. Everybody knows I'm a bogus poll guy. Bogus poll guy because there's too many factors that are put into these polls by some of these writers. But number 10, Oklahoma State. They beat Tulsa 59-24. I gave the offense an A, defense a B+. Overall, give them an A-. Mason Rudolph, James Washington, them boys showed up and showed why they are probably the most potent offense in all of college football. I am in love with this team. Everybody knows I picked them to win the national championship this year, them or Penn State, and they did not let me down in week 1. Next team up, though, was Wisconsin. So this Wisconsin game was very interesting because they didn't start out all that hot, and they just methodically beat Utah State 59-10. It didn't even look like they scored 59 points, but they did. I gave the offense a B-, gave the defense an A- for an overall grade of a B-. A- plus B-, that'll get you a B-, buddy. Alex Hornibrook. He had a nice stat line, but he wasn't as sharp as he's going to have to be versus Big Ten top teams like Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. I wasn't truly impressed with Hornibrook. Now that's a name. Wouldn't you be pissed off if your last name was Hornibrook? I mean, there are memes and funny stuff. If Wisconsin ever gets good, the game day signs are going to be incredible. Number 8, Washington. They beat Rutgers 30-14. I can't tell you how underwhelmed I was with Washington. Offense got a C-. Defense got a B+ for an overall C+. Jake Browning and company, they took nearly 3 full quarters to even put the game out of reach for Rutgers. Rutgers sucks. I mean, they suck. Aside from some flashes from Gaskins, this game was largely won by the defense. So if Washington wants to be considered a national championship contender, they have to do better than 30-14 against Rutgers, because Rutgers is not a good football team. I like Chris Peterson. I love their defense, but their offense with Jake Browning, completely overrated. Number 7, Oklahoma. They beat UTEP 56-7. Offense, A+. Defense, A. Overall grade, A. How could you argue with this? They played UTEP. UTEP is not a good football team, and they made them look like a bad football team. Baker Mayfield only had 1 incompletion the entire game. I'm in on that. I am in on Baker Mayfield, and I can't wait for Bedlam. I cannot wait for Oklahoma to play Oklahoma State. Nothing's going to make me happier than when I see those two teams play. The man threw for 329 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the defense, they allowed less than 180 yards of total offense in addition to only giving up 7 points. Number 6, my boys from Penn State, but this weak-ass schedule. They got Akron, 52-0. Offense a A, defense a A+, overall got an A. These are my boys, Saquon Barkley and Trace McSorley, my other national championship favorite. Saquon Barkley, oh my God, you can't tackle this kid in a phone booth. If you have not watched him play, if you didn't get a chance to see him play against USC in the Rose Bowl, guess what? You need to buy a ticket to go see this kid. This kid is phenomenal. I mean, the kid is absolutely phenomenal. And Trace McSorley, he reminds me of Johnny Manziel. He's a little gunslinger, throws the ball all over the place, makes plays with his feet. He's a little slippery. I like him. And I like Penn State. Number 5, Clemson. I am not buying that Clemson is a national championship caliber team yet, simply because they have a new quarterback in Kelly Bryant. And when you're breaking in a new quarterback, even if you have really good people around him, that can always be the thing that lets you down, because coaches are going to play a little bit conservative. Coaches are not going to really want to expose him. They're going to try to win with defense and all that, kind of similar to what Alabama does, which is going to be their Achilles heel this year. They rushed for 353 yards, 8.2 yards to carry, and 6 touchdowns. I know it's against Kent State. They won 56-3. I get it. But I do give credit to teams when they play bad teams and they make them look like bad teams. This is exactly what you're supposed to do, and Clemson got it done. Number 4, USC. Offense, they beat Western Michigan 49-31. Mind you, an 18-point victory should not on paper necessarily get you a C+ on offense, a C- on defense, and a C- overall. However, when you dig deep down into this game, this was really a toss-up game. USC was on upset alert until the last 5 minutes of the game. And at no point in the game did USC look like the number 4 team in the country. Not at any point in the game. They were in a dogfight with Western Michigan. And this type of game, it does not look good for USC's playoff resume or Sam Darnold's Heisman hopes. However, I will give them credit. Ronald Jones and Stephen Carr, they saved the day. 5 touchdowns. And when they got in space, There is no scarier backfield in the entire country. Not one. Them dudes miss one tackle against those dudes, they're going to hit their head on the goalpost. I mean, those dudes are fast and slippery. I like them. Defense, though, oh my gosh, they gave up 263 yards on 5.5 yards a carry. So if they gave up that type of run game against Western Michigan, because they didn't throw the ball very much, imagine what Arizona is going to do with Dawkins back there. Because Brandon Dawkins, that boy is hot. That boy is hot. Listen, they can still be rowing the boat all they want to, but that ain't going to work. Florida State, they lost to Alabama 24-7. I gave their offense a D. I gave the defense a B+, overall a C+. I couldn't have been more impressed with Florida State's defense. They were in bad situations all game, but their offense fell into the same trap that everybody does. Nick Saban's assistants do when they play Nick Saban. They get scared. They start playing tight. And the other thing they do is that they get to changing their game plan. When you look at the teams that have beat Alabama in recent history, like the Ole Misses, Texas A&M's, Clemson's, they have gone for it and been aggressive all game. You can't beat Nick Saban playing conservative football. They play field position with you, then they wait on a turnover, and then they capitalize, and then you have to just sit back and throw the ball, and they pin their ears back and rush you. You have to score early and often against them. Like, you can't play nervous. Washington tried to do it in the college football playoff. It doesn't work. And hopefully DeAndre Francois gets healthy quick. Ohio State, the number 2 team in the country. They beat Indiana 49-21. Offense C, defense A-, B overall. Their offense gave them a C only because they started so slowly, and it took the defense to be such a big catalyst for them to get going. I like Ohio State's wide receivers. These dudes, they are explosive. If you saw the game against Indiana, the dude ran a little 3-yard drag route and hit the corner. He was gone. And he was gone. And most importantly about Ohio State, I think that they have what they need to win a national championship in J.K. Dobbins. I didn't know who this kid was before the season. I'd heard him in recruiting, but he's a true freshman. And I thought Mike Weber was going to be running the show, but nope. They have a kid who's in the same vein as Maurice Clarett and an Ezekiel Elliott, a dude that can ride to the national championship. They were playing against Indiana, who is a Big Ten team. So they actually played a conference game, a decent game. Indiana runs an up-tempo spread offense. They run a lot of that run-pass option, get the ball out quick, which is hard to defend. And they did it, and they did it well. Big ups to Ohio State. Maybe I have them a little bit underrated. I'm happy I didn't put them in my overrated list this year because I thought they might have been, and I would have been looking stupid right now. The number 1 team in the country, Alabama. They beat Florida State 24-7. Gave their offense a B. Gave their defense an A+. And overall, I gave them an A. Because their defense absolutely tore Florida State's offensive line apart. I mean, they just undressed them. Gave their defense big props. Their offense, though, not real happy with their offense. Jalen Hurts is not a good passing quarterback. I mean, I just have to say it. I mean, they just are not. He just is not. If Alabama, they play a brand of football where they want to slow down, grind you out, play field position, and make you make mistakes. If you're aggressive with them, Florida State showed that their cornerbacks, because they play a lot of man-to-man, one-on-one coverage, they can be made plays on. So, what do you have to do? Block them up, throw it up, make plays. Same thing Clemson did to beat them. Make plays. So, thank you guys for joining me today. Right or wrong, unafraid. Please join me every single day. Please like the feed, share the feed. Love your energy. You can send comments on here. Send them on Facebook. Send them on Twitter, on Periscope, wherever it is you are. Appreciate you guys joining me. Yeah. Holla at you guys tomorrow.